This manhwa will simply blow your mind because the main character is a crypto investor. However, he has no money and cannot invest in Bitcoin, and the beggar has to go to a strange job where the girls behave very strangely, offer to play various games, most likely in Fortnite, but we'll move on to our manhwa. The course of events of today's manhwa begins in an unremarkable ordinary town. Next, we move to the room of our main character. Judging by his room, he is a League of Legends player. Another moment, and we see the owner of this apartment in front of us. Looking at the screen, he can't believe his eyes. On the screen of our main character is a graph of some cryptocurrency that has sharply gone down. Our main hero continues to not believe in what he sees, because in front of him there is simply perfect timing to enter into a deal. Immediately after this guy discovers such a tempting opportunity, he immediately takes out his phone. Next, the guy opens some chat and writes to the guys that now is the best moment to invest money. As soon as our main character sent this message to this group chat, he immediately noticed that 2 people had read his message. At this moment, they are simply shocked by what a good friend he is. They will probably thank him for giving them the opportunity to earn money. But no one gives a damn about our main character's message in this chat. Instead of the schedule, they talk about the League of Legends. After the guy sees such a reaction from these people, he realizes that this is to be expected from these idiots who are losing the opportunity. Next, we watch as our main hero takes a cigarette out of the pack. I think that he will be able to contact someone. After a couple of moments, the course of events is abruptly interrupted, and we continue after being transported to a more expensive place. Transported to some insanely expensive apartment, and seeing the pumped-up owner who is sleeping, we watch his phone vibrate. Next, we watch as this pumped-up gigachad slowly picks up his phone and then answers the incoming call. Our main hero immediately starts with the most important thing. He asks this one from Igma if he has some money on hand right now. Immediately after this, the guy on the other end of the phone conversation replies that he has money, but not a bit for him. Our main character tells this rich man that he is not joking, but this friend of our main hero understands that he is going to invest again. Despite the fact that our main hero was told to control himself, he said that he had discovered a good opportunity and that he needed money. Our main character continues to eagerly look at the chart with which he can earn money. He asks for the last time if they can give him money. Despite the fact that our main character was refused in a clear language, he understood that he had to invest right now, so he continued to ask. After a moment of war, an acquaintance of our main character answers him that he knows one place where he can quickly make money. After the guy hears about a way to make quick money, he asks what kind of place this is. The guy is asked if he is good at checkout. Our main character is immediately surprised after he hears such a strange question. He clarifies his interlocutor whether he means alcohol. At this point, the course of events accelerates sharply until night falls. We are transported to another part of the city. Then we move a little closer to the scene of action. We see some kind of raging moon club near which there is a crowd. The club opens at 9:30. While the girls who were standing near the club are asked to line up in a certain place, we see our main character who is dressed up. Having come to earn money, our main hero could not understand how he ended up in a nightclub if he wanted to earn money. The girls here are not bad, but why is he here? A couple of moments after the guy wonders a question, a man in a suit approaches him and asks him if he is Mr. Choi In-ho. Our main character immediately replies that he is indeed he, and in response to this, the guy is told that they were just waiting for him, and he is asked to go inside. Next, we watch as our main hero begins to follow a serious man in a suit who leads him deep into the nightclub. At this moment, our main hero, finding himself deep in the nightclub, was wondering how he ended up behind the scenes of the club simply by following a person. While our main character was assuming that he would work as a waiter or something like that, this man in a suit opened the door for NHO. After the serious man who brought our main hero opens the door, we see in front of us a woman with blonde hair and long bangs. Immediately after this blonde with big eyes sees our main character, he unceremoniously approaches him and begins to look at him. While this woman continues to look at our main character from all angles, the guy tries to ask what she is doing. The girl says that he is a little inappropriate. But despite the fact that the next step hero did not meet any criteria they settled on him, the guard tells the guy that he can leave his things here. Next, our main character is handed some kind of dubious work uniform. The inscription on this clothing literally means that the guy is obsessed with money and is ready to play. After In-ho gets his hands on this form, he immediately notices this strange thing. He immediately tries to understand what kind of crazy inscription is on his form. While our main character begins to put on his personal uniform, this girl tells In-ho that the rules of this Mets include that he cannot say his real name. Meanwhile, while our main hero continues to put on his special work clothes, he is informed that from now on, his real name is on his badge. After our main hero finally finishes changing clothes and putting his things in his locker, he realizes that this place is not as bad as he thought. As soon as our main hero finally finished changing his clothes, we watched him leave the locker room in order to understand what kind of work he had. While our main character continues to follow the guard, he notices that he is passing by some man who looks too dubious and strange. But everything gets even worse after our main character begins to smell some terrible smell, because of which everything around him stinks of shit, and he makes his face. But a couple of moments after our main hero reaches a certain room, he witnesses many men playing games with many women. The attention of our main character is most attracted by a woman with pink hair who asks her playing partner to play with her even harder. She literally begs him for it. To say that our main hero is shocked by what he just saw is to say nothing, because the guy has no idea what is happening right now in front of him. But a second later, we watch as the door is immediately closed in front of our main character's nose, and they ask him whether he saw anything right now or not. Judging by the reaction of the security guard who accompanied our main character, the guy understands that most likely he shouldn't have seen it, so he answers that he didn't see anything. Next, we watch as this man continues to move, telling our main character that no matter what he sees here, the UN will have to forget it all. After the guard says this to our hero, they continue moving and he gives him advice so that he remembers that he has no right to make a mistake. After a couple of moments, we watch as this thug who accompanies our main character stops again to open the next door. Immediately after the door opens in front of our main character once again, we again see Inho's very surprised face. Most likely he has never been to such places. Then we watch how this thug all this time brought our main character to some kind of VIP room in which there are many beautiful waifus and less beautiful guys. Our main character will be very surprised after he sees this spectacle because first-class beauties are lining up in front of him and he does not understand what is happening. But the attention of our main character is immediately attracted by the woman who sits farthest away from everyone and is not in anyone's company, creating a certain mysterious image. The beauty of this incredible girl immediately hypnotizes our main character. He understands that this Aphrodite looks better than most actresses from Hollywood and Bollywood combined. But after a couple of moments, the flow of thoughts of our main character is unceremoniously disrupted after a voice from the side asks him if he is new to this job. Immediately after the beauty with lush hair sees a new face among the staff, she immediately lights up to take our main character for a so-called test drive. After a couple of moments, we watch as this girl gives the thug who brought our main hero money in order to thank his superiors for such a sigma. At this moment, the brain of our crypto investor slowly begins to understand what kind of place he ended up in. He immediately remembers the bastard Yang Ju-wan who sent him here. While the girls are being told that all the staff are newbies who haven't worked even for 1 month, Inho is trying to reassure himself that he needs money anyway. After these girls finish talking to the thug, telling him that he can already leave, we watch as one of the girls does not take her eyes off our main hero. Meanwhile, our main character also catches the eye of this beauty on himself. Immediately after this, he thinks that maybe he was in a hurry, and this job is not so bad. After the thug leaves the VIP room, the same mysterious girl who liked our main character asks one of the girls how old she is. Immediately after a girl with bright ashen hair was approached right now, she replies that she is 21 years old and she can be here. While this mysterious woman continues to drink alcohol, she sharply looks at one of the workers standing at the door and asks him how old he is, hearing in response 20. Literally a moment later, it's our main character's turn. He tells the girl that he's 23 years old, but in fact he's 25. In this place, it's better to be younger. Next, we watch as this woman makes an extremely strange and incomprehensible move. She throws out all the ice and water from the bucket that is intended for cooling alcohol. Our main character is immediately surprised after he sees how this mysterious woman treats objects horribly because this bucket was really needed. A couple of moments after this woman finishes emptying this bucket, she picks up the bottle and then begins to empty it into the very bucket that she emptied. A few more seconds and we watch as this woman finishes emptying the entire contents of these whiskeys straight into the bucket, after which she places the bottle on the table with a crash. After this girl finishes filling this bucket with whiskey, she informs everyone who is in this VIP room that this bucket of whiskey is a gift to them all from her. Having placed this huge bucket of alcohol in front of her, this strange woman continues to tell everyone that they can drink from this bucket as much as their soul can desire. After this woman finishes her line, everyone stands in complete shock from the strange series of actions of this woman. Only our main character, standing somewhere on the side, was not impressed. The calmest one in this VIP room at the moment is our main hero. He understands that most likely this woman is just trying to weed out newcomers to such countries in a radical way. A couple of moments later, we watch as the same girl with ashen hair approaches this bucket of whiskey, after which she begins to slowly lift it, bringing it towards her. Immediately after this strange girl finally picks up this bucket of whiskey, she starts drinking it straight from the bucket, because the woman herself said that you can drink as much as you want. But despite the fact that this girl had a fairly serious mood, she only lasts for a few seconds, after which she abruptly begins to cough and twirl her head. After this girl's pathetic attempt to empty this bucket of whiskey, everyone immediately starts laughing at her because she behaved like a rag, and the pumped-up man is completely offended by this. Next, we watch how, after a wave of hate rolls over this girl, tears begin to roll in her eyes and she tries to escape. Meanwhile, it's the next one's turn. Watching this whole circus, our main hero thinks only that he wants to go home as soon as possible, because if he also needs to pass this test, he should have prepared in advance. Meanwhile, we watch as the second girl tries to cope with the whiskey bucket challenge. This girl does it much better and receives praise. Continuing to observe everything that passes by, our main character realizes that it is too late to give up. He constantly reminds himself that he needs money for investment. After our main hero begins to observe the busy table in front of him, he realizes that if he can get closer to one of them, his life will become much better. A couple of moments after our main hero catches this, he immediately looks again at the same woman with black hair, with whom he has already met eyes more than once. Next, we observe how, apparently, it is the turn of this girl in red to approach this bucket of whiskey in order to drink. She is told to finish it all in one gulp. But after this girl comes to this bucket, she acts smarter than the rest. Instead of choking on a whole bucket of whiskey, she just gets herself one glass. Immediately after this girl, as if nothing had happened, pours herself an ordinary glass from this bucket. She simply calmly drinks this whiskey in one gulp in front of everyone. A moment after this girl finishes drinking her glass of whiskey, she defiantly loudly places her empty glass on the table, attracting everyone's attention. Apparently, this mysterious woman who came up with the whiskey bucket idea was offended after this woman so brazenly decided to break the rules set for her. Our main character, after such a performance by this girl, immediately escorts her straight to her seat. He wonders if she was trying to impress them all. Meanwhile, the main one in this VIP room informs our main character that it is his turn to pass this unusual test with a bucket of whiskey. He takes a step forward. Finding himself in front of a bucket of whiskey, our main hero understands that because of the last girl, now everyone can't take their eyes off him. They definitely expect him to do something funny. But our main character understands that it will be difficult for him to live up to expectations, because he has neither rice buns nor the courage to take a small sip. But now something else is important. Next, we watch as our main hero approaches this bucket of whiskey even closer. He looks at this huge amount of alcohol in which his reflection is reflected. At this moment, apparently, our main character decides that his finest hour has come, so he throws this bucket over himself and begins to drink it as if he had not drunk for a month. After our main hero decides to do such an act, everyone starts shouting at him from their seats to drink this bucket to the bottom. The woman who started it is surprised. But a couple of moments after she realizes that our great hero managed to stir up the crowd, she smiles playfully because the guy did a good job. Next, we watch as Inho finally finishes emptying this huge amount of alcohol. Wiping his mouth, he hears voices admiring his action. Despite the fact that our main character felt very bad at that moment, he understood that the most important thing in entertaining people is not to be afraid to embarrass himself in front of everyone. The rest is just... A couple of moments later, we watch as our main character and this woman find themselves sitting on the same sofa all alone. Inho realizes that he drank too much and he got drunk. Next, this woman tells our main character that she was the one who challenged him to the competition, so she asks him not to worry too much. Inho thanks this woman. Judging by the face of this waifu, our main hero managed to greatly impress her with his actions, continuing to look at him. She asks him if he always drinks so much. But our main character is not one of those who likes to invent different fairy tales, so he drinks a glass of water and answers this woman that, to be honest, today was the first time he drank so much at once. Despite the confession of our main character, this woman took into account that our main hero says that he can almost always drink that much without any problems. A few moments after this woman takes out her luxury cigarette from the Gucci store, she turns to our main character to ask what his name is. Our main character, in response to this, immediately remembers the thug's words that he cannot use his real name, and he only has his name written on his badge. Next, we watch as our gal hero extends his hand with a lighter in his hand, in order to help this girl. He simultaneously tells her that his name is Choi In-ho. Immediately after our main guy tells this woman his name, she lights up her luxury cigarette and answers the guy back that her name is In-ho Shi. Next, we watch as this girl approaches our main hero suspiciously close and asks him how he ended up here in this place. Our main character is not going to invent any fairy tales again, so immediately after he hears a question from this woman, he directly answers that he really needs money. Immediately after our main hero tells this woman that he just really needs money, this woman begins to look at our main character in an old way. Then we watch as this woman begins to move closer and closer to our main character. Apparently some kind of game or battle is brewing between them. One more second and we watch as this woman continues to approach our main guy, taking him by the shoulders. She asks him if he wants to have some fun with her. This woman keeps telling our main hero in response to his silence that he doesn't need to think much. Instead, they can just get to the end. Deep down, the guy is glad. Meanwhile, we continue to watch how this woman more and more actively wants to play and bug our hero. She reassures him by saying that it's just a game, but our main hero immediately becomes wary. After this woman who attacks him says that this is just a game, he tries to understand if she means a simple cardio workout. Next, this woman will explain to our hero that right now he will be playing a game in which he can get an incredible prize if he can win. Meanwhile, this woman begins to rid our main hero of unnecessary rags on his body. She continues to intrigue him by telling him that he can get an incredible amount of money. Do not forget that our main hero is very drunk after he has emptied a whole bucket of whiskey. He is trying to figure out whether he will be punished if he plays. His thoughts are confused. As soon as our main hero thought that he wanted to smoke, this woman who was taller than him silently put a cigarette in his mouth, fulfilling his little wish. Continuing to be a victim of this strange game, our main character understood that he had never seen anything like this before, but he continues to be a participant in this game. Next, we watch as Inho removes the cigarette from his mouth. He immediately asks this girl how she knew that he wanted to smoke because he was silent and didn't say anything. In response to our main character's question, this woman continued to attack our main character and told him that he looked like someone who needed it very badly. Meanwhile, we watch as our main character puts out his cigarette and asks this charged waifu what game she is talking about and whether it is a competition like in Valorant. Next, we watch how, in response to a question from our main character, this woman begins to get rid of her unnecessary rags, telling the guy that he will not be interested in knowing the rules of the game. After a couple of moments of war, this woman puts her hand on our main hero's Bugatti and tells him that it's not bad to rush to finish the race as quickly as possible, but she prefers to enjoy the race. Finding herself on top of our main character, this mysterious woman showed him real landscapes and asked him if she really looked good, and he wanted to play with her. Meanwhile, our shitty hero decided that now is the best time to warn the girl that if she continues to touch his Bugatti, he will ruin the interior. But this woman was almost worried that our main hero might ruin his clothes in response to this. She calmed down Inho by saying that she would just buy him new clothes. Meanwhile, we continued to watch as this woman tried to get into the main character's Bugatti salon. She hoped that this guy would just let her get there. While this game was going on, this girl told our main hero that after she looked at how he reacted, she just wanted to tease him more and more before the game. Immediately after this woman said this line to Bugatti, the main character's monster immediately broke free. The woman looking at him understood that he was more than she imagined him. Meanwhile, this girl continued to tease our Galvango hero's Bugatti with her garage. The guy understood that she was just teasing him and continued to mercilessly stroke his Bugatti. Our protagonist's patience was getting closer to running out with every passing second. He was having a very hard time restraining his Bugatti, which wanted to drive into the garage at full speed. A couple of moments later, after our Glan hero realized that he could no longer talk, he asked this woman if he could no longer hold back and drive into her garage with his limousine. After our main character politely asked this woman above him to finally move on to the main race, she told him that she was starting to like him even more. A couple of moments after this, we watched as this woman who teased our main hero with her Gara still allowed him to take a test drive for a while. After this woman rode our main character's Bugatti for a little while, she leaned over to him to say that she really liked these sensations. The guy thanked her for the compliment. But a couple of moments after this game continued, our main character wondered if she was driving his Bugatti too slowly, and he would like to press the gas a little. A moment after our main hero decided that he could speed up, he did this because he was used to acting. We watched as this woman began to have more pleasure. This woman immediately grabbed the hand of our main character because she did not expect such a sharp increase in speed. She asked him to crash because they could crash. Our main character was very surprised after this girl made him stop. After he increased his speed a little, she told him not to move until she let him. Apparently, this woman had never driven such a cool car like our main character's, so it was very difficult for her to get used to the fast speed of our main character's Bugatti. After this girl gave permission to our main character, he continued the trip. But it became more difficult for him to control himself every subsequent second, a little more, and he would have reached the finish line. A few moments after Inho realized what situation he was in, he realized that he was more likely to be tortured than to be in a game, as this woman who tortured him with her garage said. But after our main character raised his eyes to look at this woman, he noticed how she smiled very suspiciously and was about to do something. A moment after this woman touched her hair, it became even more difficult for our main character to control his speed. He still has not received permission to move. After this woman let her hair down and increased her attractiveness by about 100%, she informed our main hero that now he can speed up again. As soon as our main hero heard that he had finally received permission to give this girl a ride at full speed, he immediately stopped restraining himself and turned on the turbo nitro mode. It was very difficult for this girl to stay on the Bugatti of our main character. After all, it is a Bugatti. During this race at high speed, this girl again asked the guy his name. Next, our main character asked the name of this girl. In response to this, the girl told the guy that he could call her Terry Nuna. He told her that he was going to go to the finish line. Immediately after our gal hero warned this girl that he was going to start the eruption process of his personal volcano right now, the woman replied that she didn't mind. This girl's garage was so powerful that it survived the volcanic eruption of our main character without any special difficulties. Moreover, this woman, on the contrary, learned great pleasure. Immediately after our main Henrio finished driving this beauty around in his Bugatti, he ran out of gas, but this woman simply couldn't tell him that he was a good driver. At this point, the course of events is abruptly interrupted and we continue when a new day comes, and we are again transported to the location of the ordinary area in which our main hero lives. After another couple of moments, we see in front of us our main character himself, who, judging by his appearance, really wanted to sleep quickly because he worked hard all night and deserved a rest. Before entering his crypto investor hut, our main hero stopped to realize that he was very tired, so he took out his pack of cigarettes to rest a little. But a couple of moments after Inho took out his pack of cigarettes, something strange happened. Our gal hero saw in his pack one cigarette from the same woman from the nightclub. Immediately after Inho saw this cigarette in his pack of cigarettes, he immediately took it out and began to look at it with surprised eyes, not understanding how this happened. A couple of moments after the guy wondered where he got this cigarette from, he remembered an episode of how after the finish of the race, he asked the girl what game she was talking about. But after our main hero asked this girl about the game, she told him that the location and details of this game are still a secret, so she cannot tell him anything about it. This woman admitted that she began to like our main character, but she still could not tell him about this game. She was going to do it a little later. After Inho realized that he would not wait for any information, he still decided to ask this girl whether this secret included the size of the reward that he would receive in case of victory. In response to this woman replied that the reward for this game is also a secret. But nevertheless, she handed our main character a rather fat wad of money for his hard work. Next, this woman told our main character that today he receives an initial bonus of as much as 10 million won. That's about $7,257 and a few small change. Having put money on the table, this woman told our main hero that she would give him this money only after he said that he was participating in the game that she told him about. This girl was waiting for our protagonist's answer, but at that moment, Inho was too much in shock to answer. He wondered whether all this was true or not. It was so hard for our hero to believe the amount of money he would receive that he wondered if this made sense. Were they really going to steal his organs or something like that?